Have you ever walked down a deserted road late at night, the kind where the mist hangs low and the only light comes from flickering paper lanterns? You hear a rustle in the shadows, and your heart skips a beat. You tell yourself it's just a stray dog, but then it steps into the faint glow, and you see it. Its body is that of a dog, but its face is undeniably horrifyingly human. This is the legend of the Jinmenken, the human-faced dog, a chilling tale that has whispered its way through the centuries in Japan. Our story begins not in the modern neon-lit streets of Tokyo, but back in the late Edo period, around the 1700s. It was a time of samurai and shoguns, a world lit by moonlight and lantern fire, where folklore and reality often blurred. Imagine a bustling town, maybe Edo itself, what we now call Tokyo. During the day, it's a hive of activity, merchants shouting, carts rattling on dusty roads, children playing. But as night falls, a different world awakens. The respectable folk are inside, behind their paper screen doors. The streets belong to the watchmen, the late-night travelers, and something else. Stories began to circulate among the yagura, the watchtowers that dotted the city. Guards huddled together for warmth and courage would speak of seeing them, a dog, maybe a Shiba Inu or an Akita, trotting along the empty alleyways. But as it passed under a lantern, its head would turn, and for a fleeting second, the guard would see the face of an old man, etched with wrinkles and a sorrowful expression. Then, it would vanish back into the darkness. These weren't just random sightings. The Jinmenken became a common topic in the Mizum and Ogoya, the sideshow attractions and curiosity tents of the era. Showmen would claim to have captured one, displaying a creature, often a clever fake made with taxidermy, to a horrified and fascinated public. People would pay their coins to peek into a dark tent, to glimpse what they believed was a true monster, a freak of nature. But what were these creatures? The legends offered many explanations. Some believed they were the spirits of people who were struck by a vehicle while walking their dog, their souls merging in a tragic, unnatural fusion. Of course, in the 1700s, there were no cars, but there were ox carts and speeding palanquins. A tragic accident on a dark road could easily birth such a story. Another, more sinister theory was that the Jinmenken were the result of cruel and forbidden scientific experiments. Picture a rogue scholar, a so-called Dutch learner dabbling in Western medicine and anatomy, hidden away in a secret lab. Obsessed with pushing the boundaries of nature, he performs unspeakable acts, grafting and combining man and beast. The Jinmenken are his failed experiments, escaped from his laboratory of horrors, now roaming the land, cursed to live as abominations. And then there's the purely supernatural explanation. In Japanese folklore, the world is filled with yokai spirits and demons of all shapes and sizes. Perhaps the Jinmenken was simply another kind of yokai, a guardian of lonely roads, or a harbinger of misfortune. To see one was considered a bad omen, a sign that something terrible was about to happen. Let's follow a traveler, a merchant named Kenji, making his way home after a long day. The road is dark, winding through a thick bamboo forest. The moon is hidden by clouds, and the air is heavy with the smell of damp earth. Suddenly, he hears a scratching sound from the side of the road. He stops, his hand instinctively going to the small knife at his belt. A dog emerges from the bamboo. It's mangy and thin, its ribs showing. Kenji feels a pang of pity. He reaches into his satchel for a leftover rice bowl. "Here, boy," he says softly, tossing it on the ground. The dog doesn't move. It just stares at him. That's when Kenji notices its eyes. They aren't the simple, brown eyes of a dog. They are human eyes, filled with an intelligence and a deep, unsettling sadness. The creature's face begins to contort, the snout recedes, the jaw shifts, and the face of a middle-aged man forms, complete with stubble and tired lines around its eyes. Kenji is frozen in terror. His breath catches in his throat. He can't scream, can't run. The creature opens its human mouth, and a raspy voice, like gravel and wind, says, "Leave me alone." With that, it turns and disappears back into the bamboo forest, leaving Kenji standing alone on the dark road, his heart pounding like a drum. He never speaks of what he saw, for fear of being called a madman, but he never walks that road at night again. This is the classic encounter with the Jinmenken. They are rarely aggressive, they don't attack or chase. Their horror lies in their very existence, and their common, melancholic plea, hotoit kure, which translates to "just leave me be," or "leave me alone." It's as if they are ashamed of their own form, weary of the fear and disgust they inspire. They are not monsters of malice, but of tragedy. This tragic element is what makes the Jinmenken so deeply unsettling. They aren't just a scary creature. They represent a violation of the natural order. They are a constant, walking reminder of something gone terribly wrong. Their human faces show a range of emotions: sadness, annoyance, weariness, making them relatable and all the more horrifying. It's one thing to be chased by a mindless beast, but it's another thing entirely to be confronted by a creature that looks at you with human eyes and speaks with a human voice, asking only for solitude in its misery. As Japan moved from the feudal Edo period into the more modern Meiji era, the stories of the Jinmenken didn't disappear, they adapted. The lonely country roads became the dark back alleys of industrializing cities. the ox carts became motor cars. The legend proved to be incredibly resilient, evolving with the times. In the late 20th century, the Jinmenken saw a massive resurgence in popularity. They became a staple of schoolyard ghost stories. Children would dare each other to go to certain haunted locations at night, hoping for and dreading a glimpse of a human-faced dog scavenging through trash cans. The story was often told with a new twist. The dogs could now run at incredible speeds, fast enough to chase down a car on the highway and peer into the window at the terrified driver. Why does this legend persist? Perhaps it taps into a deep-seated primal fear. Dogs have been our companions for thousands of years. We call them man's best friend. We trust them, we love them, we invite them into our homes. The Jinmenken takes that trust and shatters it. It turns the familiar and comforting into the monstrous and alien. That familiar dog trotting down the street is suddenly not so familiar. Its friendly face is replaced by one that could be your neighbor, your father, or even your own reflection. The human face is the center of our identity, our primary means of communication and emotion. To see it on the body of an animal is a profound psychological shock. It breaks our categories of what the world is supposed to look like. It's the ultimate uncanny valley, so close to human, yet so terribly wrong. So the next time you're out late and you see a dog in the distance, watch it closely as it passes under a streetlight. See how it turns its head. See what kind of face is looking back at you. It's probably just a dog. But if you see sad, knowing, human eyes, and you hear a raspy voice telling you to leave it alone, do as it says. Just turn around, walk away, and don't look back. Some things are not meant to be understood, only to be left in the shadows where they belong. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the dark folklore of Japan. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the shadows. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of the Jinmenken or have a local legend you'd like me to explore. Until next time, stay curious and be careful what you look for in the dark.